Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were meant for more? Like deep down inside you, there's a version of you that's stronger, braver, more capable. A version that dreams bigger, lives louder, and doesn't let fear or self-doubt get in the way? If you've ever had that feeling, even just for a moment, you're not alone. And what if I told you that the key to becoming that version of you isn't out there somewhere, but already inside you? That maybe, just maybe, the only thing standing between the life you have now and the life you're meant to live is belief. Welcome to this powerful, no-fluff summary of You Can by George Matthew Adams. Now listen, this isn't some motivational hype train. This book, it's a spark. It's a small but mighty collection of real truths, written in simple words, straight from the heart. It's for anyone who feels stuck, held back, or like life is passing them by. And if that's you, even just a little, don't go anywhere. Because what we're about to explore might be the shift you didn't even know you needed. So if you're tired of second-guessing yourself, if you're ready to stop shrinking and start showing up fully in your own life, then hit that like button, subscribe for more real, raw, life-changing book summaries, and grab your own copy of You Can through the link in the description. Alright, let's jump in. Let's wake up the power inside you. Because trust me, you can. Let's start with something that sounds so simple, yet it's the foundation of everything that matters. Belief. George Matthew Adams begins his timeless book with this powerful idea. Belief is the beginning. Before any great success in the world ever happened, before the businesses, the art, the inventions, the personal transformations, someone had to first believe they could do it. Belief doesn't guarantee success. But without it, success isn't even possible. And here's the truth. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to come from money or have a perfect plan. You just need this one thing. A deep belief that you can grow, that you can try, and that your life matters. Because when you believe, your actions carry energy. Even the smallest steps begin to build momentum. Now, let me ask you something real. What's something you've wanted to do, but you've held back because some part of you thought, I'm not good enough? We all have those moments. George reminds us that doubt will always be around. But belief? Belief is a choice. It doesn't mean you pretend life's easy. It means you decide that fear, failure, or your past won't have the final word. Belief says, I may not have all the answers, but I can take one step today. Because here's the beautiful part. Belief leads to effort, and effort leads to transformation. So wherever you are in life, whatever you're facing, start by believing that you have something valuable inside you. Because you do. And even if nobody else claps for you right now, it's okay. You clap for you. That's where the journey begins. Let me ask you something that might hit close to home. What kind of thoughts do you live with day in and day out? Are they thoughts of possibility? Or are they whispers of doubt, fear, and what if it all goes wrong? Because here's what George Matthew Adams tells us in You Can, and it's a lesson that can truly shift the way you live your life. Your thoughts shape your world. It sounds simple, maybe even obvious, but think about it for a moment. What you focus on most, the words you repeat in your head, the mental images you hold, the emotions you feed, they begin to form your attitude. And over time, your attitude starts to shape your reality. If your mind is constantly filled with fear, judgment, and self-pity, how can you expect to live a bold, joyful life? But if your thoughts are about growth, courage, and hope, even on your worst days, you create space for something better. George puts it like this. We become what we think about most. Now pause here and reflect. What are you becoming? Are you feeding your mind with doubt or belief? Scarcity or abundance? Problems or possibilities? Here's the truth. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. No one else gets to decide what takes root in your thoughts. You do. And this is where the real power lies. Not in your circumstances, not in your past, but in your ability to choose better thoughts. Choose to focus on the good, even when things feel hard. Choose to look for solutions instead of dwelling in problems. Choose to feed your mind with stories, ideas, and people that remind you of who you can become, not who you've been told you are. Because here's the catch, your outer life will always begin with your inner world. You don't change your results by forcing things to happen. You start by changing the way you think. Because better thoughts lead to better actions. And better actions, they lead to better outcomes. So don't skip this part. This isn't just positive thinking. It's powerful thinking, purposeful thinking. It's about using your thoughts to build a foundation for the life you want to live. And remember this, you can't control every thought that enters your mind, but you can choose which ones you let stay. Choose wisely, because your future is thinking its way into reality right now. So we just talked about the power of thought, about how your thinking shapes your attitude and your future. But now comes the next piece of the puzzle. Because belief and thought, as powerful as they are, they mean nothing if you don't act on them. That's right. Action creates results. Period. George Matthew Adams doesn't sugarcoat this part. He says it clearly. You must do. You can sit and plan. You can dream big. You can think positive thoughts all day long, but unless you take action, nothing in your life will actually change. And here's the part most people miss. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need the perfect plan. What you need is to begin. Because, as Adams reminds us, clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from it. You figure things out by doing. Think of it like this. If you're stuck in a parked car, no amount of turning the wheel will change your direction until you put the car in motion. It's the same with life. Take one small step. Make your bed. Write a single sentence. Go for a 10-minute walk. Pick up the phone and have that conversation you've been putting off. Small actions build momentum. And once you start moving, even just a little, the resistance begins to fade. Energy builds. Confidence grows. Progress begins. Adams calls this energy in motion. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being in motion consistently. Because when you build the habit of doing, you move from being just a dreamer to becoming a doer. And doers get results. So pause for a second. Let this question sink in. What's one small thing you can do today right now that moves you forward? Not next week. Not when you feel motivated. Not when you have more time. Today. Because action, not intention, is what builds the life you want. And the next time your mind says, I'll wait until I'm ready, remember, you won't feel ready, but you can be brave anyway. So we've covered belief, we've covered thought, and we've talked about the power of action. But what really holds it all together, what gives your actions meaning and your success lasting value, is character. And George Matthew Adams doesn't hold back here. He says it straight. Character is king. In a world that often celebrates shortcuts, flashiness, and fast success, Adams reminds us of something deeper. He reminds us that who you are matters more than what you achieve. Let that sit for a second. Because success without character, it's empty. It fades. It cracks under pressure. But when your success is built on integrity, on honesty, on consistency, it lasts. It feels good. You can sleep at night. You can look in the mirror and be proud of the person staring back at you. And here's the thing. People feel your character. Think about someone you admire, a mentor, a coach, a parent, maybe even a friend. Is it just their skills that inspire you? Probably not. More often, it's how they show up, how they treat others, how they keep their word even when no one's watching. That's character. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's magnetic. People trust character. And trust, that's what opens doors in life, more than charm, more than talent, more than credentials. Adams is clear. Build your life in a way that you never have to hide anything, that you never have to pretend, that you never have to wonder if people would think differently of you if they saw the real you. Let your character be so solid that even if no one sees it, you know it's there. Because success comes and goes, fame fades, but character stays. So here's a question for you to reflect on. When no one's watching, who are you? Do your choices match your values? Would the younger version of you, the one full of hope and dreams, be proud of the person you're becoming? And if the answer isn't quite what you hoped for, that's okay. Because character isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest and growing forward from wherever you are. So start today. Be honest when it's hard. Be kind when no one expects it. Keep your word. Show up with integrity. Because character is your true legacy. And don't skip the next part. Because now, we go deeper into something that affects your everyday joy, your growth, and your peace of mind. Now that we've talked about character, the inner compass that keeps you grounded, let's talk about something that builds that character day by day, moment by moment. Hard work. In a world chasing quick wins and viral success, this chapter hits you like a wake-up call. George Matthew Adams believed that there is dignity in effort. That real satisfaction doesn't come from luck or shortcuts or raw talent alone, but from consistent, honest, everyday work. And let's be real, hard work isn't always glamorous. It's showing up when no one claps for you. It's trying again when you already feel tired. It's staying focused when distractions are everywhere. But Adams tells us, this is where true fulfillment is born. Not in the applause at the end, but in the effort along the way. Because hard work doesn't just help you achieve something. It shapes you. It makes you resilient. It teaches you to delay gratification. It humbles you when things don't go as planned. And it fills your wins with real meaning because you earned them. And here's something powerful Adams reminds us. The result might take time, but effort always compounds. Think of it like planting a seed. You water it every day. You don't see much at first, but something is happening under the surface. Roots are forming. Growth is building. And one day, often when you least expect it, you see that first green sprout. Your hard work is the same. So don't get discouraged if progress feels slow. Don't stop just because it's not easy. Keep going. Keep showing up. Because every time you do, you're building strength. You're proving to yourself that you are someone who follows through. And that self-trust, that's priceless. Now ask yourself, Where have you been cutting corners in your life? Is there an area where you've been hoping for results without really doing the work? It's okay to start small. What matters is that you start and that you keep going. Remember, it's not about grinding endlessly for perfection. It's about doing your best with heart. And there's a deep joy in knowing that you gave it all. So the next time you feel tempted to quit, repeat this to yourself. I may not be the fastest. I may not be the smartest, but I will not stop showing up, because in the end, hard work, done with purpose, never goes unrewarded. And don't go anywhere yet, because up next is a chapter that dives into something we all deal with, the fear of failure, and how to flip it into your greatest teacher. In the last chapter, we talked about hard work, the kind of effort that builds your backbone and brings meaning to your journey. Now let's talk about something even more powerful, something that might surprise you. Confidence, but not the kind you see in movies, not loud, flashy, or arrogant. We're talking about real confidence, the kind that comes from within. And here's the twist George Matthew Adams offers us. Confidence isn't built by focusing on yourself. It's built by focusing on others. Let that sink in. You don't have to wait until you feel ready to be confident. You don't need a big title, a fancy degree, or 10,000 followers. Sometimes, all it takes is showing up for someone else. Adams teaches that service, genuine, simple service, is one of the fastest ways to grow your self-worth. Why? Because when you help someone else, even in a small way, you stop obsessing over your own flaws. You stop worrying about being good enough. Instead, you become useful. You see that you matter. You see that you can contribute. And that changes something deep inside. Think about it. Holding the door, offering a word of encouragement, helping a friend study, listening without interrupting. These might seem like little things, but each act of service reminds you, you have value, you have power, you can make a difference. And here's the magic. When you lift someone else, you rise too. One of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is, I'll help others when I'm more confident. But Adams flips that. He says, help others and confidence will follow. So let me ask you, who can you help today? Not tomorrow, not next month, today. Maybe it's a stranger who needs kindness, a coworker who needs support, or maybe it's you helping someone who can never pay you back. Because confidence isn't just about believing in yourself. It's about seeing the impact you can make. And don't miss this, because sometimes the moment you reach out to lift someone else is the moment you lift yourself out of fear. So if you're struggling with doubt, if you feel small or invisible, serve. Not to prove yourself, but to discover yourself. Service doesn't just change the world. It changes you. And up next, we're diving into one of the most important habits Adams talks about. How to stay inspired and renewed every single day, even when life feels heavy. Don't go anywhere. This might be the shift you've been waiting for. In the last chapter, we explored how confidence often grows from serving others. When you give, you grow. When you help, you heal. But now, let's talk about something that supercharges everything else: your energy, your fire, your spark. Let's talk about enthusiasm. George Matthew Adams believed something powerful. If belief is the fuel and action is the engine, then enthusiasm is the spark that brings it all to life. Think about the most inspiring people you've ever met. Were they dull, bored, exhausted? Probably not. They had a light in them, a zest for life, a kind of joy that made you feel like anything was possible. That's what Adams called the magic of enthusiasm. Because here's the truth, enthusiasm is contagious. It spreads faster than fear. It lifts rooms. It attracts people. It opens doors. And no, you don't have to be loud or extroverted to be enthusiastic. You don't have to jump on a table or clap the loudest. You just have to care deeply. You just have to show up with heart. Adams says that enthusiasm isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a habit, a mindset, a choice. You build it by focusing on the good, by reminding yourself why you started, by waking up with gratitude, and by doing your work, whatever it is, with pride and purpose. Let me ask you right now, are you bringing energy into your day, or are you just dragging your feet through it? Because here's what happens when you start bringing even a little bit of joy, of curiosity, of wonder to your routine. Everything starts to feel lighter. The people around you respond differently. Even the challenges feel more manageable. Adams says, no one ever really succeeds without enthusiasm. And that makes sense, because enthusiasm turns hard work into a mission. It turns struggle into adventure. It turns the ordinary into something unforgettable. So don't underestimate this. Don't brush it off as just positive thinking. This is about how you show up to your life. And if you're thinking, but I don't feel enthusiastic right now, that's okay. Start small. Look for one thing to be grateful for today. Find one moment that makes you smile. Bring energy into one conversation. And tomorrow, build on that, because the spark you bring to life might be the one someone else needs to see hope again. Coming up next, we'll talk about one of Adams' most timeless teachings, how to stay inspired and renewed every single day, even when life feels heavy. Don't skip this. The next idea could be the one that gets you through your hardest days. So far, we've talked about enthusiasm, the spark that makes everything come alive. But even that spark needs fuel. And for George Matthew Adams, that fuel was simple: learning. He believed this with his whole heart. Life never stops teaching, so we should never stop learning. Not just from schools, not just from books, but from everything. From every person you meet, every mistake you make, every ordinary day that holds an extraordinary lesson. You see, Adams wasn't just talking about education. He was talking about a way of living, a mindset of curiosity. He believed that no matter how much success you achieve, no matter how much experience you gain, there's always more to discover. And here's the beautiful thing: when you keep learning, you keep growing. You stay humble, you stay open, you stay alive. Think of someone you admire, someone truly wise. Chances are, they're not someone who acts like they know it all. Instead, they're probably someone who's always learning, always asking questions, always improving. That's what Adams challenges us to become. A student of life. Every moment, every person, every challenge is a potential teacher. But only if we're willing to listen. He wrote, "You can learn more from a 5-minute conversation with the right person than from years of schooling. So don't close yourself off. Read more, listen more, reflect more, ask why, ask how, ask what's next." It's not about being perfect, it's about staying curious. Because the moment you think you've learned it all, that's when growth stops. But when you stay a learner, you become unstoppable. And here's a powerful truth. Learning is one of the few things in life that no one can ever take from you. Not failure, not loss, not criticism. Your growth is yours. So ask yourself, what's one thing I can learn today? One question I've been afraid to ask. One area where I know I can grow? The world is full of lessons. And your future self? They're built on what you choose to learn now. And coming up in the next chapter, we're going deeper. We'll explore a lesson that can completely reshape your relationships, your mindset, and how you connect with others. Don't miss it. Because if you've ever felt alone, misunderstood, or disconnected, the next idea could bring everything into focus. Let's pause for a second. Take a deep breath and ask yourself this. When was the last time you showed up as you fully, freely, unapologetically? Not the version of you shaped by expectations. Not the mask you wear to fit in, but the real you. This chapter, it's not about tactics or tips. It's about truth. Your truth. George Matthew Adams believed something we all need to hear. The greatest thing you can offer the world is your authentic self. And yes, that takes courage. Because let's be honest, the world isn't always kind to authenticity. From the time we're young, we're told to blend in, to be polite, to fit the mold. We learn to compare ourselves, to copy others, to dim our light, just to be accepted. But Adams challenges that. He says, stop comparing, start becoming. Because here's the truth. You were never meant to be a copy of anyone else. You were built with your own gifts, your own story, your own voice. And when you choose to live from that place, something incredible happens. You start to feel lighter, clearer, stronger. You stop chasing approval and start building purpose. You stop fearing judgment and start finding joy. Adams wrote that the person who dares to be themselves, no matter what others think, becomes a force. Not loud, not flashy, but real. And real is magnetic. But yes, it takes guts. It takes the courage to say no when everyone else is saying yes. It takes the strength to follow your own path when the crowd pulls you the other way. It takes honesty to admit what you truly want, not what you were told you should want. And maybe the hardest part, it takes compassion to love yourself, even when you feel like you're not enough. But here's the gift. When you live authentically, something shifts. You attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy. And even more than that, you begin to trust yourself. So let me ask you now, what part of you have you been hiding? What truth have you silenced to make others comfortable? And what would your life look like if you let that truth come alive? Because you can't lead others if you're not willing to lead yourself first. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be you. That's where your power is. And don't skip what's coming next, because we're entering the final stretch of this journey. The next chapter holds one of the most emotional, powerful messages in the entire book. A reminder that what you give and how you make people feel might just be your legacy. So stay with me. This is where it gets real. And now we've arrived. The final chapter, the final message, the heartbeat of the entire book. The reason George Matthew Adams sat down to write it in the first place. 2 words. Simple, but life-changing. You can. Let them sink in. You can overcome. No matter what you've faced, what you've lost, what's broken, you can rise again. You can grow. No matter your past, your age, your mistakes, you can change, improve, evolve. You can build. a business, a relationship, a new life, a better mindset. Whatever it is, you can create it from the ground up. You can start again, even if you failed, even if it's late, even if it hurts. You can love, even after heartbreak, even after betrayal. You can love again others and yourself. You can lead. You don't need a title to make an impact. Your example, your integrity, your energy, that's leadership. You can create art, ideas, solutions, beauty. You have something inside you the world has never seen before. And you can rise from doubt, from fear, from the ashes of whatever life has thrown at you. Adams doesn't end this book with a technique. He ends it with a truth, a declaration. Not maybe, not if you're lucky, not if someone else says it's okay. You can. And now, it's your turn to believe it, your turn to live it, to embody it, to prove it, not to others, but to yourself. Because the world is waiting on what only you can give. You've made it this far, and that already says something powerful about you. You don't just consume ideas, you commit to growth. And maybe, just maybe, that quiet voice in your heart that keeps whispering more isn't asking too much. Maybe it's telling the truth. So before we end, let me ask you one final question. What would your life look like if you finally decided to believe you can? Let's bring it all together. You Can isn't some flashy book filled with hacks or empty motivation. It doesn't promise instant results or pretend life is easy. Instead, it offers something far more valuable. A reminder, a quiet, firm, unwavering reminder that the tools for transformation, they're not out there somewhere. They're already within you. Every chapter, every idea, every word from George Matthew Adams whispers the same truth. You don't need to wait. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to believe. Believe in your voice. Believe in your power. Believe that you can get up, even if you've fallen 100 times before. So what do you take away from this book? It's simple. Believe. Think strong. Act boldly. Live honestly. Help others. Work hard. Stay curious. Stay kind. Be real. And above all, never ever forget. You can. Now take a deep breath. Feel that fire inside. That's not just inspiration. That's you realizing what's been there all along. If this video lit even a small fire in you, hit that like button right now. It might seem small, but it helps us reach more people who need this message just like you did. And if you're on a path of growth, of healing, of building the life you know you're capable of, make sure to subscribe. We're building a library of book summaries designed not just to inform, but to transform. Most importantly, grab your own copy of You Can by George Matthew Adams. The link's right there in the description. This book isn't just something you read once and forget. It's something you'll come back to in quiet moments, in hard times, in turning points. And hey, if you found value here, check out our other deep dive summaries. Start with Atomic Habits by James Clear if you want to build systems that last. Or The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle if you're looking to find peace in the present moment. Thanks for being here. Thanks for choosing growth today. Now go out there and prove to the world and to yourself that you can.